business. I'm ready to get down to
Okay.
business, man. Let's get it.
Hold
Let's
on.
get it.
By the way, I went to Akron, so I know a couple of the dudes who you played with too.
They were just really good, huh?
Yeah.
They were some dogs. Like I would watch them practice for hours. Like after our practice.
Zakawani, Nagby, Tail
Mm-hmm.
Bunbury, all those guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jesus, man.
like I would
Those
watch
guys
those.
are
I would
smart.
watch those. I would literally watch those. Those guys would practice until 12 o'clock at night.
KG, guys,
Hours.
you know we're recording, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right. All right. So let's officially kick it off. All right. So Wagwan family. Once again, we managed to organize another soccer family get together. So, oh man, my headphones are over there, but I'm the guy with some of the questions, and we got to cast the characters with us today. So today we're gonna start off with KG. KG, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, fellas? I'm back
Right.
again. Causing trouble.
KG just got a quarantine. His haircut
You
looking
see me?
like clean. He got a clean fade, looking fresh, just like he came out of his mama. And next we got Mr. Salt and Pepper Beard. We got Pras. Say what's up, Pras.
What's going on, guys? Hanging out. I'm up here in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, fighting some fires. Now with
Jesus
the
Christ.
flood. So that's why I'm in a hotel room right now. No shitty business.
All right. So we got to give you a shout out, Figo. Thank you for what you do, man. Somebody had to fight fires, and it definitely is not going to be me. So keep doing what you're doing. And then next up we got Bazzi. Say what's up, Bazzi.
Hey, what's up, fellas? What's up? How's everybody doing?
Okay. So even though it looks like he's walking around for some weird reason,
Man, it's the
everybody
kids,
else
man.
is
You already know I gotta get away from those guys.
so he got to
Those guys
jump
are tough.
to the room, whatever room is available. Bazzi's going to be occupying. And then last but not least, we got Mr. Kei Kamara. He was on loan with Norwich, jumped to Middlesbrough. Currently, he's playing with the Colorado Rapids. Say what's up, Kai?
That's right. That's right. What's up? Thanks for inviting me and you guys to hang out. I like it.
Okay. So let's kick things off real quick, man. It's a soccer family, so we're supposed to be talking about some soccer. The only league that we have the opportunity to wake up and watch in the mornings now is the Bundesliga. And one game that was played today, it was Dortmund. They actually, they had a comfortable win. It was a 2-0 win. But one question that I wanted to ask Kai was basically, I'm trying to get your thoughts on Haaland's performance overall since he's been at Dortmund.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a striker, and strikers got to respect strikers that scores goals. Håland, he's a young boy, so he's got that hype in him. You know, it doesn't matter what, he's hungry. He just wants to get to goal. He doesn't see anything else but goal. It's weird to say, but he's playing for such a great team, in Dortmund. But Dortmund produces such, like great young players too. That's what we got to look at. And I don't really see him playing team football at the moment. I just see him just like being a striker. He just wants to get in the box. He just wants to score goals, But hey, we have to give him all the credit because when you start scoring goals, you score 1, 2, 3, and then your names start going on the front pages. That's it. Nothing else happens. You just think about goals and goals, and if he keeps doing that, he could be one of the best, top strikers in the world.
KG, I know that you like Haaland, but I know that you're not the biggest fan. What are your thoughts on the type of goals that Haaland has actually scored? Because I know he's had a couple of spectacular runs, but then there are also those scenarios where it's simple tap-in runs, and I feel like the vibe that I'm getting from KG, which is normally strange, he always have a difference of opinion, is that Haaland is not one of those. I don't want to say great players. He's not on track to being one of those great. He's shaking his head already. I'll just stop asking.
Okay.
Go ahead, KG. Wait, you're muted. You're muted, KG. You're muted.
That's because what he's trying to say is not important. Everyone's muted.
Yeah, I had to mute everybody. So KG, you're still muted. So I gotta.
I just unmuted my microphone. Is that better?
You gotta unmute before you talk.
Nah, I don't think Haaland is a bad player. I have no criticisms of Haaland, I think Håland is in a situation. He's been in two situations where you see the goals that he scores. It's not a knock on him, but he also is a scorer of great goals, right? Like you go back and you watch the who was it? Who was it? The last against PSG, the last goal that he scored against PSG, when he just like from 25 yards out banged it in the top of the net. There's 10 players in the world that can do that. You know what I mean? So you can't deny his abilities, but you also have to take into account like the players that he's playing around, the leagues that he's playing in. You know, in the Bundesliga, yes, like at Dortmund, those guys thrash people all of the time, right? And you can look back at you can go back down their list of strikers. Even last season, what was the little there was a little guy, you know what I'm talking about. He scored like 20 something goals. And like Kai, you know what I'm talking about too.
For Dortmund?
He scored like 20 something goals, and it was like he was scoring at a clip that was like unheard of. It was right before they bought Håland. It was a little Spanish guy. And I think that Dortmund has like a unique situation where they have so many creative players, so many young creative players, that anybody who's ever played as the number 9 at Dortmund has scored goals. I like everyone who's played at the number 9 at Dortmund has scored goals. Everyone.
Is it right to say that? Is it right to say that what KG is doing right now is underrating the Bundesliga? He always talks down on the Bundesliga. I think he's one that mentioned that even though Manchester United is 5th and Wolves are 6th, even though he didn't want to mention that Chelsea was 4th, which is literally right above 5th, he was saying that Manchester United would get 6th. Wolves would get handed like. Do you think that Bundesliga? Do you agree with KG's point of the Bundesliga actually being as bad as he says? So, Bazi, you're muted.
Not bad. I didn't say the Bundesliga was bad. That's not what those were.
You said that Bayern Munich is overrated. You said, which means everybody else is overrated.
So what was that? What was the conversation we had today, Em?
Well, KG, I'll come back to you. I need to hear Bazi's thoughts on this.
Well, to be honest, I would agree with him because yesterday I was having the same conversation that the level of play has dropped a little bit in Germany, and then remember Mikas was saying something about because of the money, so much money not coming into the league, so much money going into the English league, and that's why teams are suffering. Because we watched a team like Schalke, and they played Dortmund last week, and it was like day and night. And back in the day, Schalke used to be in the Champions League. So definitely like the middle teams from like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You watch 2 bottom teams play, and it'll actually be a very interesting competitive match. But it's rare for you to watch like a Fortuna Düsseldorf game, in the German league playing against, no offense to those guys, but the level of play is not the same. And I feel like that is why when Dortmund play those guys, it's like a one-way thing. You know what I mean? So I do agree with Kevin, which doesn't happen a lot, but I do agree with him.
So Figo, I have my fingers crossed because there are days when you watch the games and there are days when you don't. So I'm asking this question blindly.
Why is he so close to the screen? All I see is being hit away from the screen.
Figo, back up. Ryan, you gotta back up. All right, but yeah. Ryan, hopefully you watch the game. But you're muted, Ryan. But hopefully you watch the game. Felix Klaus, he actually got a red card, and it was a highly debatable red card. What are your thoughts on this red card situation? You're muted. You're still muted.
Everyone's talking, but they're muted because KG's talking too.
KG, you're talking. You're muted.
Yeah, you gotta unmute your own video.
Yeah, you gotta unmute your own video. So I'm trying to keep it. Okay, Ryan is having technical difficulties. Kai, did you watch the game?
What? No, I wasn't able to watch the game today.
Okay, KG, you were well. KG was the one that actually brought up the conversation with the red card, and I know Bazzi didn't want to have that conversation. Bazzi didn't want to talk about it. I don't know why. He's very sensitive to red cards. But KG, what are your thoughts on the red card scenario and how it actually should have played out?
So Kai, I'm an American football player, right? To begin with, so physicality is not something that I generally shy away from, right? But at the end of the day, if a guy ends up standing on the back of your calf with all of his weight, regardless of how he got there, what situation put him there, what he was thinking, what the situation was, 100% of the time, in my opinion, that's a red card. Period. If a guy ends up putting 100% of his weight on the back of your heel, that's a red card 100% of the time. I don't care how he got there.
That's such a Chelsea answer.
Whatever. Well, like it's because then you start getting into things about like, oh, what was his intent? Like, how was the ball played? Listen, if you're standing on the back of somebody's heel with all of your weight, it's a red card. You're out of the game. Like, period.
It depends.
No matter how you got there.
It depends how it happens. Like you said, it has to, because I mean, you play a sport where your whole body is in the whole movement, and every kind of movement you're colliding with different other people's in tackles, and you're going for the ball. So somebody can leave their legs behind. I mean, let's talk about Neymar, like embellishment and stuff like that. So some people can do it differently. Red cards. It's good that they have VAR now, so it can really decide whether it's a red or not. And yeah, you're talking about football being a hard hit. Yeah, true. But soccer, the movement of the feet, your arms, your this, and the way you do it, and the positions that you put yourself in, red cards is really, really like some refs got to really think about it before they give it. That's how I think.
You're on mute, Em. You muted yourself, bro.
One player that doesn't get I'm just testing you guys, man. I'm just testing you guys. One player that doesn't get a red card very often, it's Mr. Lewandowski. Okay, so Kai, they had a comfortable win today. What do you think about Lewandowski? Like, would you pick Lewandowski in his prime or Haaland in his prime?
Shout out to my boy Alphonso Davies still doing it. Talk about Lewandowski. He got that Alphonso Davies. Would I? No, because I don't think Haaland's hit his prime yet. Haaland just got out. People just started noticing about him, and obviously, what KG is talking about. Yeah, he's at Dortmund, but this is a kid that just got out. It doesn't matter how much he's gonna do right now. We can look at Mo Salah. We can look at De Bruyne and all those guys, like when they were younger and what they were doing. They went to Chelsea and they left Chelsea to go back out and get more playing time. But this kid is showing that, hey, I can score goals
anywhere.
Exactly. So that's
everywhere.
They can just the next minute Manchester United can just pick him up, or you can just go to Real Madrid in the next minute. Like, seriously, it could happen.
What do you say everywhere? What is everywhere? Let's try and put things in context now, guys. When we say everywhere, he's scoring in the Bundesliga, right?
Well, no. He's the leading scorer in the Champions League too.
Go ahead, KG.
He's the leading scorer in the Champions League.
The first time I noticed the guy in the
you didn't know that
World Cup, the guy scored like 9 goals in one game. That's like
the guy's not
right.
Go look at him. I mean? He's the leading scorer in the Champions League.
So
like, there's no like what competition do you want him to score in?
But strikers hit that luck. Strikers hit that luck, man. But you can see that he has the ability. But strikers, we hit that luck where if it happens, dude, everything you touch is gonna go in. That's just it gets that way. But like you said, the way Dortmund plays, and no disrespect to the Bundesliga. Like when you're saying about Bundesliga, I've been out there. I've trained out there. Bundesliga is really, really difficult. It's one of the top leagues, and for younger players, really, that's the best place to go to grow. And it's not England, it's like the Bundesliga. It's the best place to go to grow. The way they take their football, man, it's too serious, And so for the way he's playing with Dortmund, he's just showing that I can be at the right place at the right time. I'm a big boy, but I can put the balls in the back of the net. So and then I think he's doing well.
And for a striker, that's really all that matters. But so Kai, you touch on the point that you've actually been around Bundesliga. Bazzi might have been there. I know Bazzi was at, where was Bazzi again, Ryan? What was he at, Aston Villa? I don't remember where he was.
Aston Villa in the Bundesliga.
You wish.
And Bazzi said that he trained for our English Premier League team. I don't remember which one it was, but for somebody that actually was in the Bundesliga, how do you think they've been handling the whole bringing the league back? Like, how do you think they're handling the whole situation?
Yeah, I'm probably at the same position as Bazzi if he says he's trained, because that's what I did too. I was there for I think 3 weeks on a trial. They were offering me a contract, but I decided to leave. But that league, the fans, the positions that the teams are in, and what's in stake is what people really don't know. It's so much difficult, than most other leagues. Like we always see Premier League and Spanish League, but I'll choose the Bundesliga because of the passion that they have in that country for the game of soccer. It's really, really tough. And for the players too, I mean, we don't see all the games and we don't know all the teams. That's probably what it is. And like Bazzi said before, to really have like the Schalke and all these guys, they're not doing what they used to do before. But, maybe the money is not too crazy, but that league, I respect it a lot.
Bazzi, quick question for you. You're the second person that has, well, out of everybody in the panel, we could say that you're second in terms of international exposure. What are the positives and negatives that you take away from the start of, like, the way how the German league has been starting? And Kai, it looks like you have some special guests coming in.
That's a top player right there. The future. I told you the guy can only give us 5.
We're in quarantine. These are unusual times.
So yeah, Bazzi, what do you think the positives and negatives that you would take away from how the German league has actually been operating so far?
Well, so far, I mean, I think if you guys remember the last few podcasts when I said, they had a book of how they were going to just reach on everything from the game days to practices, and they were on top of everything. If you see how those guys are sitting, they're on top of everything. You know what I mean? In regards
That is silly. I disagree with you. That quarantine,
you don't think so?
On how players are sitting, I've been talking about it. That is so silly. We're training together. We go to training every day, and then you're playing on the field. Everybody's pushing each other. Next minute when you come off, they give you a mask and they say, you go sit over there and you go sit over there.
It doesn't make sense.
So now we find out how that shit really works.
Right. So,
yeah,
there's a player.
That's not how you're going to get the COVID, though. That's not how you're going to get the virus. You got to understand how it works. What I'm saying is, in the instant, when those guys are sitting, they're not sitting together. They're always separate. They're always doing their own thing.
But
and the fact that
the point that Kai's making is during the week, these are the same guys that you're bumping, you're dapping up with. These are the guys that you're sitting 2 feet away from. So you're sitting away from them and in the situation that is on because it's broadcast to the entire world.
It's
the rest of the week. These guys are living their normal lives, and you can tell just by the way that they walk. You can tell just by the way that they walk out on the pitch. These guys are like, "Yo, this shit is stupid." Because none of them are gonna die from this shit. Let's be honest. Not a single footballer is gonna die from COVID.
Hey, we have to be modest, man. We have to be modest. We have to be modest. We have to be modest. We have to give them kudos. They're the first.
It's always better than cure. So it's better for us to. I guess that's the standpoint that the Premier League is coming from. It would be a PR nightmare if they have players going out there and getting COVID. You know what I mean?
I honestly think this is literally all it is, because the players themselves are at very, very low risk to essentially no risk, right? Because those guys are going to get COVID. They may have the flu for a week or two, but in reality, how many of these players are going to die?
But we hope no one.
Yeah, let's try to keep it. Try to keep it. Eagle, Ryan, I got it. So Ryan,
Yes, sir.
Serge from Serge Aurier from Tottenham. Apparently, he got a haircut, and that was the big news that was coming out of Tottenham's camp this week. So, what is the best way that the Premier League can actually, because they're going to be next in line. What is the best thing that the Premier League can actually do to control the project restart?
In my opinion, I think the Premier League is doing the right thing. They have not yet restarted. They're testing all their players, all the staff. They're reporting how many positive tests they've had. They're training. They're back to training. So I don't think they're definitely not rushing it. You know, players have been vocal. One of which is Troy Deeney. He came out and said, you know, he doesn't feel comfortable going back to training. He fears for his family. So I think that the Premier League, I don't
Ryan, you have to add context to a situation though. He has a newborn that has like I guess some type of lung issue.
It's like it's a breathing.
Yeah, like are you predisposed to like? So he's saying like he gets it, and he's not gonna. And again, if you go back, if you read the broad statements that go ahead.
We all have family members who are at risk. You and I have family member with diabetes, a close family member who's diabetic, right? So all of us have family members who are at risk. Him, you said a young child. But you know, so I think that they are not. The Premier League is not rushing to start, but I also like that they did not rush and do what France did and cancel the league. Okay, so go ahead, KG. You can go ahead and touch on that.
Oh no! So what I was saying is like in the league itself, like I agree with your standpoint. Also, is that I think a lot of leagues rush to judgment, right? We're not really sure about the disease. We're not really sure where we are. So for me, it's like, all right, like what's the rush? The leagues that have rushed to decisions, in my opinion, have already shown that they're wrong. The leagues that have taken their time, the leagues that have made, decisions based on the current circumstances are generally the leagues and the teams that have like turned out on the backside positively PR wise. You know what I mean? From like a team standpoint. Because if you look at like, and I know I'm a Chelsea fan, but if you look at Chelsea, right? The best PR moves that everyone has, I mean, it's been a consensual agreement that they, out of all of the major clubs in Europe, they've probably handled it probably one of the best. And if you look at the statements they've made, if you look at the things that they've done, they've essentially waited until there was a decision to be made, and they've made a decision in the view of caution, right? And so everyone's like, "Oh, they're so perfect," but I mean, in reality, like a lot of the stuff that they've been putting out.
Chelsea can't keep their players out of trouble right now, boss. So I don't know what they did PR wise we're talking about, but Chelsea players are under some fire right now.
Hold on, let me get Bazzi in here real quick.
I don't know how Chelsea.
That's why I keep saying, don't get them started. We
Bazzi,
gotta move.
Those guys are so.
Kai gotta go.
But again, that goes to the point. Those guys are so bored.
He started.
He was so bored in quarantine. He was trying to get youngins. What you mean? You do the same thing. No.
Anyways,
hold on, KG. Bazzi, what are you? I see you shaking your head. KG's making a statement. I see you shaking your head. What's that about?
I'm not getting in with those guys. I'm moving on. I got a question for Kai. Kai, how are you guys? How are you guys coping with COVID? And what's the league status into returning to training and stuff?
Look at this guy. You sound like a journalist, bro.
Hey, man. I try.
We're in step one. Step one. It's weird, man. Like I said, you go to the grocery store. You go around in the street. You you kind of walk by people no matter what, you know. But now we're
Yeah.
back on the soccer field, which is called stage one, and only four guys can be on the whole field together. And this is like one guy in basically each corner, you know, of the corner flags, and they set like a little grid for you. They do little cones and this and that. You're so far away from each other. You're not passing balls to each other. You're just using, you know, like little walls, you know, and the board hit the ball
Wow.
through that. So it's crazy. And one at a time to leave their car to come to the field, one at a time to go that way. So we're far away a little bit, but it's like a preseason is what we're doing, you know. And we're just following. MLS is really just following what's been said in the medical form in the whole of the U.S. Not just trying to follow like the other leagues. Like we do want to get back, obviously, but we really don't have a timetable.
Kai, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So you being a striker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you always have to be sharp at all times.
Right.
How have you tried to maintain your sharpness,
Mm.
like through this period of time where like you're so down for
Yeah.
long periods of time?
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough, and obviously with myself being so experienced, it wouldn't take me long. You know, obviously I feel for maybe the younger players, younger strikers that needs touches on the ball. I've been to the parks a few times, but because we weren't able to go to the stadium, so went to the parks a few times. But the goals that they have there usually don't have a net because they're trying to keep people away from the parks. But really, it's just just getting your touches, watching a lot of tapes, a lot of videos. That's the best thing. And really, it's not really to worry about scoring goals. It's really to worry about your fitness, make sure you're not far off, even though we don't know when we're coming back. But I mean, trying to like stay fit, just so if hey, the call comes tomorrow, say, hey, you guys are back in. Like right now, we're training. Like I say, it's preseason, but it's a tough one.
So basically,
I
what
have
you
a question.
know.
I have a,
So how many? You said that you guys are in stage one. How many stages do you guys have like set up currently, and do you have? How is your accessibility to testing? Do they
Yeah, they
provide
don't
that
they
for you
don't they
guys?
don't really know. They don't really know, and we haven't really done testing. You know, it's not like again like as you were saying over there, like Chelsea players or England. I speak to most of those guys out over there and see how they're doing. They're doing testing. We haven't done testing. You know, we've been just home quarantine. That's why we're really not close to anyone. They're not even the coaches. Like we get on the field, the coach has a mask on the whole time he's trying to talk to us, and he's probably like 50 yards away from us, but he has to keep his mask on. So we don't really know how many stages we're gonna go, but we just know we're at stage one right now. Ryan was
Interesting.
gonna say something.
Ryan, Ryan got a question? Oh no, he don't got.
yeah, I
Yeah,
say
Ryan got a
on
question.
the topic of these unprecedented times. What do you think about? I'm going to jump over back to the Premier League specifically. What do you think about the players being asked in the Premier League to take pay cuts?
We're in the same boat, you know. We're in the same boat in MLS. It's tough because for us, for players, you know, we think about we sign contracts, you know, we sign contracts and then people have to basically obey contracts. You know, we obey contracts by staying loyal to the contract because you can't just walk away because you still need it. So the thing about it is, you know, over there, it's a percentage thing because I played in England and imagine getting where was it when I played? I think 46%, you know, of your salary being cut. That's basically what it is. So then in England, it's different. That's why the players is like, okay, we have 46% of our salaries being cut already by taxes. So we can't just then turn over and give you more percentages again. So they were trying to work something out, you know, with the tax board so that at least they get to select, you know, negotiate the percentages and they get to select where